Are you sometimes worried that your players might not be enjoying your D&D game? Does the thought plague you that perhaps your game isn't that good, but nobody's saying anything? If so, it's okay. I've been running games for nearly 30 years and I worry about the same thing. So today we're gonna go through the top 10 warning signs that your players may not be enjoying the game, because simply asking your players if they had fun usually doesn't work, because most people are gonna say yes even if they didn't have fun. Number 1, lack of engagement. Okay, so I had this player once who was there. He never really missed game sessions. He always had his butt in the seat, but I could tell that he was on his phone quite a bit. Like during combats, he was super engaged and very excited about it, but if there was anything else going on, whether it was an exploration or a social interaction, except for a few, he did enjoy some of the social interaction. But there were many parts of the game that he was just kind of disengaged. He was on his phone doing other things, and eventually he ended up leaving the game. I'm sure he was having fun in some parts of the game, but there were clearly other parts of the game where he just wasn't enjoying himself. So ask yourself, are your players paying attention to the game? Are they listening to you and the other players, or are their heads down on their phones or tablets or something else? Yes, everyone checks their phones from time to time. This is the 21st century. Yeah, 21st century, yeah. But if that's all your player is doing, they might not be enjoying the game so much. Conversations about things that have nothing to do with the game are another indicator of flagging interest in the game. Talking briefly about the latest video game release is normal. When that conversation, however, takes up an hour of your 4-hour gaming block, that's probably not normal and indicates your players would rather talk about a game or whatever else than actually play your RPG. Number 2, declining attendance. This should actually be number 1, but my scriptwriter put it here, so what am I gonna do? Anyway, if your players are constantly missing game sessions, that usually means they're not super interested in the game. Or if you have high turnover rate, meaning a new player joins your game, but then they nope out of it like after the first or second session. I've heard stories of people who like nope out of games after like 5 minutes or an hour and are just like, you know what? I think I'm just gonna leave. They turn the camera off and leave the game and it's over. Anyway, if that seems to happen a lot, then that's another leading indicator that they might not be enjoying your game. But Luke, my players are just busy and things just keep coming up. It's not the game, it's them. And to that I say, do you not live in our present day society? How many times when someone, especially a friend, doesn't want to do something, do they straight up tell you, no, I'm sorry, I'm just not interested in that? Like, wouldn't that be a breath of fresh air if somebody were actually honest about not wanting to do something that we asked them to do? How many times have you gotten out of an invitation by saying that you were busy when you weren't busy? Or better yet, how many times have you really wanted to do something and you were busy, but you found a way to make it work anyway? In our ultra-polite society, claiming busyness and giving socially acceptable excuses is how most people get out of engagements that they simply don't enjoy. Now, it doesn't mean people are always lying to you, of course. Like, things do come up from time to time. It's the frequency that's the key. Frequency. All players will miss games occasionally. It's when they are constantly missing them that we should stop and consider if it's because they just aren't enjoying the game. Number 3, limited role-playing. Dungeons & Dragons and other RPGs, like Pathfinder 2, Call of Cthulhu, Savage Worlds, and all the good stuff out there, all of them are RPGs. And RPGs are, by definition, role-playing games. That's what the R, the P, and the G stand for. So, if players show up but their role-playing is sparse, there might be a problem in Houston or Dallas or whatever city or town you happen to live in. I'm not gonna list them all, okay? But hold on right there a minute, because since we mentioned role-playing, it's time for my obligatory rant. And if you're a regular viewer, you probably already know what I'm gonna say. Anyway, here it is. Remember, the entire game is role-playing, not just the talky parts where you speak in character with funny voices and accents. Yes, that is role-playing, but it's just one aspect of role-playing, and it is best referred to as social interaction. Please remember that combat and exploration are the other 2 fundamental pillars of RPGs, and they are just as much role-playing as social interactions, the talkie-talkie bits, are. Okay, so rant done. I have to go there. I have to go there because I constantly see people saying, oh, we were role-playing. They'll say things like, they'll be talking about D&D or Pathfinder 2 or Savage Worlds or whatever, and they're like, well, you know, I like the role-playing parts of the game, but the combat is not that interesting to me. I'd rather just do the role-playing parts and not do the combat. Like, people will say that, and I'm just like, you don't even know what you're talking about. Like, that's not, the whole game is role-playing. So anyway, I flip out, my brain flips out every time I see people say that and write that. So I have to give that rant. You know, I have to. It's like, I need to. It's like, anyway, if your players are reluctant to engage in role-playing, they might not be finding the game immersive or compelling. Just remember, not all players like speaking in character, and that particular aspect of role-playing is 100% optional. That's why it's important to remember that there is more to role-playing than just the talkie-talkie. If players are engaging in those other aspects of role-playing, combat, exploration, then you're probably good. It's just not everybody likes the talkie-talkie stuff. Some people are just quiet during that, and they're like, this is boring, and this is stupid, I don't want to do this, and I am not going to talk in an accent, I'm not going to do it, buddy. But they're engaging in other parts of the game, and they are enjoying those other parts. Number 4, lack of cooperation. This is another huge one right here that I've seen in my games that indicates a player isn't enjoying the game. In fact, this should probably have been number 2 on the list. Okay, you know what? If you're a script writer, I think I'm safe to say this at this point. If you're a script writer, please leave a comment down below. I think we're probably in the market for a new scriptwriter at this point. I apologize to our current scriptwriter. You know, this is probably a bad way for you to find out that you're losing your job, so I do apologize. Unless you're not even watching the video. You might be writing the scripts for videos that you don't even watch, in which case, you had it coming. Okay, back to our point. If your players are frequently not working together as a team, or they are constantly arguing with each other, or they get into it with you, the game master, well, that's a good sign they may not be enjoying the game. Look, people who are having fun usually don't argue and fight with each other. Like usually, like I bet there's probably like friends and family out there that like when the fists start flying and the blood rolls, that means they're enjoying themselves, but that's not normal. I don't think it's normal. Okay, so the arguing and fighting thing, yes, I understand that could be a sign of engagement and being invested in things and really caring. But it could just as equally be a sign that they don't like how the game is panning out, which is why they feel the need to argue and complain about things, which I guess complaining is a little different than arguing, but the arguing, especially if they're arguing with you, the game master, and how you're running things can be a big sign for you. By the way, this is probably a good time to mention that even if it turns out your role-playing game isn't that great, that doesn't necessarily mean it's 100% your fault as a game master. Like, there are lots of factors that go into whether someone enjoys a game or not. The other players, the social dynamics, the themes of the campaign, the balance among combat, exploration, and social interaction, and of course, how the GM runs the game and how good they are as a game master. However, you could have an amazing game master with a player or two who aren't enjoying the game, and it might have nothing to do with the game master. So, players not having fun in your game isn't necessarily cause to beat yourself up. Oh, and here is our mandatory YouTube call for engagement. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you think I suck, give me a thumbs up. Wonder if that fooled anyone. Number 5, no pre and post game discussions. Look, one thing I have noticed over decades of being a game master is players who are enjoying a game talk about that game. And they usually talk about it before the game begins and almost always after the game ends. Check out any of my recorded games that I've posted to my YouTube channel here. What you'll see is that as soon as the camera starts rolling, you'll hear my players chatting about something, and it's usually related to the game. Now, I don't really edit my game recordings, so that chatter is them before I start the game. And then I usually let the camera roll for a tad after we end the game. And you'll also notice that my players keep on talking about the game session and what happened after the game ends. Shoot, many times these conversations continue out into the driveway and street as we walk back to our cars. My point is this: This pre and post game chatter is a sign that your players are having fun and enjoying the game. If this banter is missing, that's a good sign they may not be enjoying themselves. Now, if you've made it this far in the video, you're probably a game master who's invested in running awesome games for your players. And the good news is I have an entire channel of videos to help you do that. And the bad news is you have to watch all those videos and maybe even take notes. However, there is an easier way. What if you could get all the Game Master experience from my brain into one book? And while we're at it, let's throw a few more brains from experienced Game Masters into a blender and put that all into the book too. You know, blend up their brains. Wait, no, not the brains. Don't blend up their brains. Let's blend up the experience in their brains. Stay with me here, stay with me. Imagine one book that contains over 100 years of Game Master guidance and advice to help you run amazing games that your players will love. That book is The Secret Art of Game Mastery, and my team and I are launching it on Kickstarter in August, just a few weeks from now. And the great news is that the book is already written, so we're going to do fulfillment super fast. And we also have 2 companion books that go along with it. The Secret Art of Preparation and The Secret Art of Note-Taking. We got lots of secrets going on around here. Anyway, with these 2 books, you'll get a workbook filled with templates designed to help you design a compelling campaign filled with awesome adventures, and a journal with templates to help keep track of game events, plot points, and more. By the way, these are my own personal templates that I use myself in my games. My team has tweaked them a little bit and made them better, but it's the stuff I use in my own games. The Secret Art of Game Mastery launches in August, but you can follow the project at the link below and get notified when it goes live. We're gonna have some amazing early bird specials too that you won't want to miss. Number 6, rushing through content. You may have heard it said that a slow game is a boring game. And if you haven't, maybe I just made that up. But it's definitely sometimes true. However, a game that barrels forward at a breakneck pace and gives you 0 time to actually enjoy the game, enjoy the process, and enjoy the present, well, then you have a game kind of like Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. It's like a roller coaster rushing down the track, only at the end, there's nothing but the brick wall of disappointment. And when you crash into that wall, you realize that the only good part about the movie was the popcorn. Unless the butter was rancid, because yes, sometimes even butter is bad. But bacon is never bad. Bacon is never bad. But my point is this. If your players don't seem to care about the individual moments of your D&D game and just want to get her done as quickly as possible, that could indicate they don't enjoy the game. Or perhaps they just don't enjoy the parts they always try to rush through. Combat, exploration, or social interactions, for instance. Or they might be unsatisfied with the balance and pacing of your adventures. By the way, if you actually liked Rise of Skywalker, please let me know why and how. Like, I really want us to be friends, but wow, that movie was so bad. Number 7, constant rules disputes. Now, one of my friends recently told me that he and other players are frequently having extended discussions with their game master about the rules. And from what I gather, it's not rule lawyering at all. Some of the players, my friend included, are simply dissatisfied with the game master's rulings and their understanding of the rules. If you find in your games that your players are constantly arguing with you about the rules, don't just blow it off as they're being filthy rules lawyers or something. Like, those arguments could point to something deeper. But not always, not always. Sometimes players just want to argue. I was running Princes of the Apocalypse like a while ago. We made it through like a part of the module, and then we were just like, you know, let's just not do this anymore. Luke, just homebrew for us again. It's better that way. And so we didn't get through it all, but when we were running through it, I had one player in that game who just wanted to argue about rules. Like, I don't know if a single game session could go by with him not arguing with me about something. I don't know, maybe he just didn't like my interpretation of the rules or something, but he always wanted to argue about the rules with me. Maybe he wasn't having fun in some of these instances, maybe he wasn't, I don't know, but ultimately it resulted in him leaving the game. And there you go. So arguing with rules is probably an indicator that something's wrong. But maybe not always, who knows? Number 8, lack of character development. Okay, look, not every player gets super involved in developing their character. For instance, me, I throw a character together as quickly as I can. I might make a 2-paragraph backstory if you're lucky, but I'm mostly trying to just get it done. Now, In my case, I'm used to my characters dying in like 1 or 2 game sessions, you know, because I'm like reckless and I do stupid stuff. That's just the way I play my game. I don't know. So I have just learned not to get too invested in my characters. However, most players I've observed in my games are not like that. They're not like me. Like, players by and large seem to get really into tweaking out their characters. It may or may not mean they go hog wild with their backstories, but character creation itself is something they enjoy and take seriously. And many players really get into certain builds or character concepts that they're going for. So if you have players who are not engaged or invested in their characters, it might mean they aren't enjoying the game itself. This isn't always the case, of course, as different parts of the game appeal to different people differently, but it could be an indicator of something. Number 9, lack of initiative. Okay, this might actually be the 3rd greatest indicator that players aren't enjoying the game, but here it is at number 9. Seriously, we're sacking the scriptwriter at this point. There's no question about this. Anyway, have you ever seen a group of players just sitting there, their pencils and papers and their dice is all sitting there nice and neat, and they're just staring at the game master, waiting for the game master to make the first move? The players don't declare that they'd like to do anything. They just sit there, stare at the game master, waiting for the GM to do something, to bring the fun and entertainment into their laps or something like that. Well, that's not what interested and invested players typically do. It will happen from time to time, sure, but when your players are almost always just sitting there like lumps and waiting for the GM to practically handhold them and walk them through the entire adventure, prompting them at every step, suggesting things they might try, and the like, you probably have players who aren't enjoying the game so much. Unless they're new players, of course. If you got folks completely new to RPGs in general, then you have something else entirely on your hands. See, I gotta have all these disclaimers and stuff because people yell at me down in the comments about this sort of thing. I'm always getting yelled at in the comments. Like, you know, some days you guys just yell at me so much, it makes me want to cry, you know? Number 10, negative feedback. Yes, thank you, Captain Obvious. If your players are giving you negative feedback on your game, they might not be enjoying themselves. But hey, we couldn't have just like 9 things on the list. We needed 10, so that's what you get. Oh wait, I do have a better number 10. I do. Here we go. Observe your players during the game. Are they smiling? Are they laughing? Do they appear to be having fun? Here's the thing. It's easy to say you are having fun, but it's much harder to fake fun in the moment. There we go. A solid number 10. Eat that, scriptwriter. Okay, so what do you do then if you think your players aren't having fun? Like, what's the purpose of this whole stupid video if we don't give you some actionable information to help you remedy the problem? I don't know, I could just be making videos to get views and clicks and crap. I guess there's always that, but you know, there's a part of me that actually wants to help people and give you something useful from time to time. I don't know, call me crazy. Step number 1 is talking with them. A simple, straight to the point conversation. Like, basically, you need to find out what elements of the game they're not enjoying. Once you understand that, you can take steps to improve. Now, this doesn't have to be, you don't have to follow some like crazy, like, you know, 5-step, 5 why problem solving type of thing, you know, and really delve deeply into things and be like, well, no, forget about this crap, all right? Just simply go to your players and be like, okay, look, guys, I've noticed some things going on during the game session, and it makes me believe that maybe you're not having a lot of fun. Now, whether you are or not is not the point. What I want to know from you guys is like, what are the things in the game that you don't find fun? What are the things that we could make better? Can you give me some feedback? Help me to understand what things could be improved so that you can enjoy the game more. Because once you understand that, once you understand the things that cause them not to have fun, then you can do stuff. Then you can take steps to get better. Now, this might mean that you, the game master, need to improve things, or it might mean addressing other issues that are causing players not to like the game. Remember, it's not always the game master's fault. There are lots of factors at play in an RPG that contribute to folks having fun or not. Now, those are my top 10 warning signs that your players might not be enjoying your game. But what do you think? What are some other red flags I may have missed? By the way, are you a busy game master looking for easy to use 5th edition and Pathfinder 2 resources? Adventures, traps, puzzles, monsters, that sort of thing? If so, consider becoming a DM Lair patron. Every month, my team and I publish Lair magazine and other GM resources for patrons. And right now, we even have free trials available. You can become a $15 patron for free, check our content out, and if you don't like it, just cancel. Now, if you want to build an amazing world that your players will love, check out this video right here about 10 commonly overlooked world building secrets. Woo, secrets! And until next time, happy game mastering.